We're recording this before Rogers talks on McAfee.
Yeah.
But either way, I'd like to present you with this gift.
Oh, what do you got?
A giant Rogers.
Oh, I want that.
My brother brought my son like a little Steph Curry one that fits with all of his toys, and then he didn't know how big the Rogers one was, and it is massive.
That thing is huge. Yeah, I've never seen that.
Bigger than my head.
You should send that over to me.
It probably cost me more to ship to you than it does to just buy it online.
You know what's crazy? Because your son will only ever know.
Look at his dead eyes.
Is he high? I like that. I like that.
My son will only know what?
Like Jordan Love and then whoever's after Jordan Love. He'll never know Aaron Rodgers, only through like YouTube clips. So how we grew up with Favre, like we watched Favre and Rodgers. You know what I mean? Your son.
I got a little magic in there.
Yeah, so yeah, I got a year of magic. I mean, yeah, but right. I mean, we also had a little Brett Hundley, Scott Tolzien, Deshaun.
Yeah, people act like we don't know what bad quarterback play is. We do. Just not like for years at a time.
Remember this year when you were like, Rodgers is being selfish by playing when he should just allow Jordan Love to play? Do you think maybe the reason that he was being selfish is because anytime that he sat out, he had to watch guys like Seneca Wallace, Scott Tolzien, Deshaun Kaiser just piss down their leg and had to go back into games with broken legs and whatnot?
But he was always happy to sit out because he knew those guys sucked.
No, he was never happy to sit out. Remember, he rushed back for that Carolina game. He had no business being in that game. That was the worst he's ever looked until this year. Until this year. Yeah, I told you I wanted to record this before Rodgers because I don't care. I already know he's going to the Jets. This is dragged on.
All right. Well, I'm not going to send you that. I will keep it for my son if he wants it someday, even though I've already established that, he knows heroes and villains. And when he separates them, he knows to put Brett Favre in the villain pile because he's an awful human.
Yeah, you can't really put Rodgers in the villain pile. I
never said he was a bad guy. I just said he's insecure and doesn't know who he is. That's all.
Maybe.
But does anyone, Horvat, does anyone truly know?
That's probably fair. The reason I wanted to do this was to fill out my bracket live with you because I'm only doing 2 brackets this year. And like I keep going back and forth on these. I've made all my bets. I could give those out for the people. But I wanted to, have you filled out your bracket yet? You want to go over these?
I have, and we will go through it. And I'm in like, the thing I care the most about is Joe O's survivor pool.
Oh, me too. You want my picks?
So I'll get to that in a minute. But I have 2 brackets.
Glad you said that. I actually have to pay him as we record here on Wednesday, March 15th at 11:07 a.m.
Yeah, we'll do the survivor thing at the end. But the brackets, I fill one out on a DraftKings and a ESPN, and I'm only doing 2 paid ones. Yeah. I did one that I took my real one, and then I kept the real one and just tweaked it so that I have a $10 entry for Marquette to win it all, just because I feel like I should root for Marquette, and I can't really get into them. So this is forcing me to care. Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are going to take Marquette in this pool, so we'll see. So we'll go through them here. The top, I don't even know why they call them South, Midwest, West, and East. We're going to start with the top left.
Wouldn't that be? Are we starting in the South?
Yeah, the top left.
So Alabama would be your first game, right?
Yes, top left.
All right. Well, I mean, we're recording, a day early here, but as long as nobody on Alabama murders anybody, I would think that they would be able to, win this one. So I'm going to take Alabama to move on. This is a tough one. Here's one I keep going back and forth on, man, because Maryland is the better team. Like, this isn't West Virginia's best team, but I like picking better coaches in March. And I already know Bob Huggins is going to have some tricks up his sleeve. I just don't trust the Big Ten and the NCAA tournament. Like, look at last year. All those teams, and they all crapped the bed. I'm going to take West Virginia. So I got Alabama and West Virginia. I have the 9 over the 8 there. What about you?
Well, how about we do it by and we're just kind of producing on air as we
Yeah,
always did. How
right.
about we do it by to get to the Sweet 16? And
So it's
if there's a pick that's against the grain, like in this little bracket, I'm taking Alabama to get to the Sweet 16 against Virginia. I did
okay.
put Charleston as a 5-12 upset, and I did take Maryland over West Virginia. But in this Sweet 16, I'm taking Alabama to get there against the 4 seed Virginia.
Okay. So really quickly, I'll just fill this out really quickly on the fly. Then I'm going to go Alabama. I'm going to go West Virginia. I actually hung out with the Charleston basketball team. Weird story. That's where they had their conference tournament. Is here in Washington D.C. So like I ran into the boosters and I was out for like an alumni thing because my school was here, and I ended up getting like hammered, and they were doing like their like chant and fight song. And it was one of the wildest nights ever of my adult life. So I would love to take them, but I think they lose to San Diego State, even though I'm not really high on San Diego State or that conference. The reason I can't take Charleston is because I'm going with Furman to knock off Virginia. I think Virginia is the worst 4 seed in tournament history. This isn't your typical Tony Bennett Virginia team. Furman shoots threes on like 53% of their possession. So I'm going to go with the 13 over the 4. I like Creighton to beat NC State. I'm also going to take UCSB to upset Baylor, a 14.
Wow, you can't do too many upsets.
No, I know. I don't like Baylor, man. Offensively, they're great, but they don't play any defense. And I was watching SVP. I don't watch any shows. I get these texts all day, like from my coworkers and stuff, and it's like, "Oh, did you see First Take?" And "Oh, did you see what Mad Dog said to Screamin' A?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." But I do watch SVP, and they did this like whole BPI thing. 3 seeds that won't advance to the Sweet 16, right? And they like showed like the history of these teams by BPI. And this year, the team that fits that model is Baylor, who I've just been completely out on. So I took UCSB already to cover the 10.5 points. I figure if Baylor does beat them, I don't have them beating Creighton. I like Creighton actually quite a bit. I have Utah State over Missouri, a 10 over a 7, but that's not even an upset because Utah State's a 1.5 point favorite in the game. I bet that one, Utah State on the money line. I'm going to go with obviously Arizona over Princeton. So let me move on here really quick. Alabama over West Virginia. I'm going to take I'm going to take Furman to the Sweet 16. I'm going to take Creighton over UCSB. I'll take Arizona over Utah State. I'll take Alabama over Furman. I'm going to take Creighton over Arizona. And so I have Alabama beating Creighton in the Sweet 16.
What? Why?
What do you mean, what, why?
That's the Elite 8. You're taking Creighton to the Elite 8.
I like Creighton. I actually bet them preseason. I got talked into them playing a little future on the national championship, but they got off to
I forever hate Creighton because last year at this time, we went to a bar in the Twin Cities, and for some reason, it was a Creighton bar.
Really? Who's there? Doug McDermott?
So Creighton's in Omaha, I believe. And they lost, which was hilarious. But I'm taking Arizona. You're convincing me on Baylor, but I do have Arizona over Baylor, and then very chalky Alabama over Arizona, with Alabama going to the Final Four in that region.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I'm pretty high on the Big East, and maybe I'll end up being wrong like I was on the Big Ten last year. But like you said with Marquette, I could see Marquette making a run to the Elite 8 to the Final Four. Like all those teams are battle tested. That was a really good conference this year. The Big Ten, I mean, is always a tough conference. The SEC this year was awesome. The ACC, it was a down year. North Carolina was the number 1 team to start the year. They're complete shit. And then they declined their NIT invitation because they knew they'd run into the Badgers, who all of a sudden are an offensive fucking juggernaut after last night. Let's go over to the East, if you don't mind, where Purdue wins.
What's your Final Four out of there, Alabama?
So my Final Four there, Alabama.
Over Creighton?
Alabama over Creighton to get in the Elite 8. To get to the Final Four, I have Alabama over Creighton.
All right, I have Alabama over Arizona. In the East, as you mentioned, Purdue, the 1 seed. I'll just tell you where I'm at. I've got in the Sweet 16 there, I've got Duke over Memphis. I think Memphis beats Purdue. And I have Louisiana beating Tennessee as a 13.
So I love Memphis because I had them in the conference tournament plus 500. The reason being Houston's awesome, but like Memphis was pretty much a lock to get to the championship game. Then they were only going to be plus 200 on the money line. So I was like, fuck it. Might as well grab them here pre-flop. But man, that's a tough matchup against FAU. I could see them losing. I'm gonna take Memphis with you. So really quick, Purdue advances, Memphis advances. Duke beats Oral Roberts, but I think they do it like on a buzzer beater or some shit. Oral Roberts is actually my favorite bet. I bet them plus 7.5. It's down to 6.5. They've taken some money.
I think a lot of people will take Oral Roberts. This is a 5-12 matchup, and Duke's had a lot of nice runs, but Duke's also lost to a lot of double-digit seeds in the last 20 years.
Yeah. You know what I hate about Twitter, other than the fact that everybody like steals my content, and if it's like a girl, she gets way more likes than me. And like Bleacher Report did it. I blocked Bleacher Report actually because I've caught them doing this 3 times. They followed me and then unfollowed me, but like stole 3 of my fucking tweets. I hate like tomorrow or whenever the fuck Oral Roberts and Duke even play. Everybody, there's going to be so many Oral jokes on Twitter. Oh, I love Oral. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Give me Oral here.
Yeah.
There's no better time to have Oral than Thursday afternoon.
I would make Mike Wickett a minus 450 favorite of former people to work at WSSP who's the first to make an Oral joke on Twitter. Who would you go with?
I'd be surprised if he hasn't made one already.
Yeah. Or Unit, but he has me blocked, so I wouldn't know.
Me too.
I'll tell you about some Oral. Hey, hold on. Let's do this. All right, really quickly. I got Duke beating Oral Roberts. I got Tennessee over Louisiana. I actually bet them minus 11. I'm going to take Providence over Kentucky. I'm going to take Kansas State over Montana State. I'm going to take Michigan State over USC. And I'm going to take Marquette over Vermont. I think Vermont covers against Marquette, though. I think that's a pretty tough matchup. Let's go to the round of 32. I got, I'm going to take Purdue to beat Memphis, unfortunately. I'm going to take Duke to beat Tennessee. I'm going to take Kansas State to beat Providence. I hate that. And I'm going to take Marquette over Michigan State. So then I go over to the Sweet 16. I'm going to take Duke to beat Purdue. I'm going to take Marquette to beat Kansas State. And then in the Elite Eight, I hate to do it. I'm going to take Duke over Marquette. And then since we've already talked, I'm going to take Alabama over Duke in the Final Four. But we'll get to that here in a second. Anything different for you?
On that bottom half, I did take Providence to beat Kentucky. Providence, I guess, has some guy that transferred out of Kentucky.
Yep.
So I'm going to ride the storyline there. For whatever reason, I did take Montana State just because there's always that one game that you're like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
So I took that as that. I've got Marquette over Michigan State. I've got Marquette over Providence, just like you, or you have Marquette over, but I have Marquette advancing. I do have Duke over Marquette as well. And then just like you, I have Alabama over Duke. So we both got Alabama in the championship game on the left side.
All right. Again, I'm sorry I have to do this, but I'm filling this out here live exclusively. I'm going to go Houston. We'll go to the Midwest. Houston over Kentucky. Who is that? Northern Kentucky? I don't even fucking know. I'm going to take...
It's nice Kentucky. The N stands for nice.
I'm going to take Iowa over Auburn. I just changed my mind on that one. Go Hawkeyes. We need some Big Ten love.
I'll tell you what I did. The DraftKings has the 0 picks pool where you're supposed to get every pick wrong. So a lot of people are taking the 16s and the 15s and the 14s. And I think you get less points if you take the higher seeds. I took Iowa to win it all in that pool, which means I'm taking Iowa to not win a game.
Yeah, you should
I took Auburn.
Yeah, you should just take. Well, no, you should take. If you want to be wrong, you should just like take the entire you should have an all Big Ten Final Four. Just get everybody in there.
I know.
Penn State's pretty good though. I'm going to take Drake over Miami.
Okay, I took Miami there.
I'm going to take Kent State over Indiana. Kent State's beating Indiana. I'm
Wow.
going to take Iowa. I'm going to take Pittsburgh over Iowa State. I'm getting weird. I'm going to take Xavier over Kennesaw State, but I did bet Kennesaw State to
You
cover.
have way too many upsets, dude.
No. This is the year of the parity. I like Penn State over A&M, and I like Texas over Colgate. Everybody's going to bet and take Colgate. Colgate's going to get fucking smashed. That conference stinks. I'm going to take Houston over Iowa. I'm going to take Drake over Kent State. I'm going to take Xavier over Pittsburgh, and I'm going to take Texas over Penn State. Then we move on. Give me Texas over Xavier. I love Texas, and give me Houston over Drake. All right, we're moving right along, getting right where we need to be. Let's go down to the West.
Give me your Final Four there, because I've got Houston and Indiana on the top, Xavier and Texas on the bottom. I've got Houston and Texas, just like you, and I took Houston to win to go to the Final Four.
All right, so far I'm going to roll with Alabama over Creighton, Duke over Marquette in the Elite Eight, and then I'm going to go Texas to minor upset over Houston.
Okay, because right now our Final Four was being the same, so this is going to change that.
Yeah, I mean, Texas, man, top 20 offensively and defensively as far as efficiency. They fire Chris Beard, who's a piece of shit human, allegedly, and then Ole Miss hires him. What the fuck is wrong with these people in the SEC, man, by the way?
They got everyone.
No, but, like, they just do horrible shit, and nobody cares as long as they can win games. Like, Chris Beard just gets hired at Ole Miss. Not even a year removed from getting fired at Texas. The mugshot does him absolutely no favors. And Alabama's whole thing, I don't really want to get into all that, but like, I don't know. It's pretty weird, man.
The Alabama thing. So this is normally a story.
Carter at Georgia. Like, I didn't even know about that. Go on. I'm sorry.
Nate Oates, by the way, Wisconsin born.
I love Nate Oates.
But this whole Alabama thing, I would normally ignore talking about it or knowing any information because this kind of shit depresses me. But I was on CBS for a few days. It's a national thing, and I learned about it, read about it, talked about it. I just don't understand how Brandon Miller's playing.
I got to be honest. I don't understand how he's not in more trouble. You could say
brought the gun to the scene. It was used. Right. He's an accessory to a crime, if anything. And then he does the TSA pat down. Like,
right.
What are you doing?
And I don't care that you've been doing that all season long. Like, it's just a terrible look. And Nate Oates, like, wake the fuck up, dude. And I like Nate Oates, man. Tremendous suit game. Great hair. But
I think there's a lot of coaches that would say, all right, we can't, it's weird. I mean, John Morant is getting counseling because he showed a gun on Instagram Live. And this guy, but I think Nate Oates is like, this is my chance. And I didn't have anything to do with that. It wasn't I did not have anything to do with that. And Nate Oates must be thinking, I'm not going to get punished for something I didn't do. And if no one's going to tell this kid he can't play, I'm not going to tell him he can't play.
Yeah, it's so hard to win a national title. John Calipari is going to be considered one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. He has one national championship.
And history won't judge Nate Oates poorly.
No, they probably won't even remember this. Yeah. But it's fucked up. I mean, it's pretty messed up. And I know, and you see like the Alabama fans all defending it on Twitter. It wasn't his gun. It's like he knew exactly what was, like, the guy wanted the gun to use the gun, and he just drove it there anyway. It's a messed up situation. But whatever. Anyway, we're on with the tournament. Round of 64. Let's continue with the West. You know I hate Kansas, so everybody's like, oh, Kansas got screwed. Bill Self's sick. I hope Bill Self's okay. Hope he's on the bench for this tournament. I hope Howard smashes their brains in. It's not going to happen, but Kansas advances. I want to
say I take Kansas to win every year. And then last year I didn't. And didn't they win it all?
Yeah. They won it all last year.
Yeah,
and they have 18.
That was the year I didn't take them.
18 quad 1 and quad 2 wins, the most out of any team. They get absolutely hosed here, getting sent to the West, where they belong, though. I'm going to take Illinois over Arkansas. Arkansas has blown double-digit leads in 4 of their last 5 games. They're shit. Illinois is shit, but they protect the rim, and Arkansas doesn't hit threes. They just go to the rack. So I think Illinois actually will be able to hold their own here. Go Big Ten. Everybody's going to bet VCU. Fuck VCU. I love this St. Mary's team. I bet them on the money line. I like UConn over Iona. Everybody's going to bet Patino. Shout out to any coach who buys his players hookers, but I'm going to take UConn here.
I'm right with you so far.
I'll tell you why here soon with UConn. Hint, hint. I like TCU.
Yeah, I'm not. Everybody's going UConn. That's weird.
I don't like that. They've been my team all year, and then they went through a little slump. But you know how I feel about the Hurley family. I'm going to take the Zags over Grand Canyon, but I think they get pushed because
who do you got TCU in that 11?
I got TCU.
I'm taking whoever wins the 11.
I like Nevada tonight. Tomorrow, last night, whatever.
No, I'm going to post this.
Okay, cool.
At like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, because you're going to be talking so much Rodgers. You fucking love Rodgers, man. You probably got Rodgers jersey on under that sweater you got right there.
I am going to send him a thank you note. I mean, I get unemployed and then I've got nowhere to turn. And thank God I can scrap this podcast together from my basement because I can talk about Rodgers.
I'm not even going to listen to this McAfee thing. I'm picking, my son has early release today and he has to go shoot hoops. It's 35 degrees out. So we have to go to the gym, but I'm not watching that. I have better things to do.
Back in my day, they'd keep us inside until it was negatives. They keep us
man,
outside.
all the sharps are betting Northwestern over Boise State. Can't do it. Chicago's Big Ten team, my ass. Boise State over Northwestern. UCLA over UNC Asheville. Let's move along. I'm going to go Kansas over Illinois, which I hate. Fucking Bill Self. That piece of shit screwed over Illinois. Now he gets to beat him in the tournament. Excuse my language, but I hate Bill Self. It brings it out of me. I'm gonna take I want to take St. Mary's over UConn. Actually, I did. I had UConn winning it all in one bracket. I'm taking UConn though.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Gonzaga over TCU hesitantly, and I'm gonna take Boise State to upset UCLA.
Wow.
Yeah, UCLA is without their best defender. I'm going to take UConn to upset Kansas, and I'm going to take the Zags over Boise State. I'm going to take UConn over Gonzaga. So, again, my Elite Eight, Alabama over Creighton, Duke over our Golden Warriors, Texas over Houston, UConn over Gonzaga. I'm going to take Alabama over Duke, and I'm going to take UConn over Texas. In the national championship, I take Alabama to beat UConn by the final score of 72-68. Alabama cuts down the brackets.
They cut down the brackets. Wow.
Hate to do it, dude. And then really
I've got in that bottom, so my Elite Eight, Bama, Arizona, Bama, Duke over Marquette, Houston over Texas, and I do have Kansas going to the Final Four over UCLA.
Love it.
I have Alabama beating Houston in the final.
You got Houston getting there?
Yeah.
It makes sense because Jim Nance went to Houston. This is the Final Four
of Jim
Nance. It'll be local, and it's the last Final Four that
They're
called.
In Houston.
It's the final time he gets to give out his tie. Did you know that?
The worst tradition in sports.
One of them, other than... Yeah, the worst tradition in sports. The bets that I've placed, I'll give to the people.
And I love Jim Nance.
Do you?
Well, I don't not like him.
I don't really like the Well, I like his basketball broadcasts with Raph and Grant Hill, but Romo's lost me. Romo lost me about 2 years ago. He don't give a shit.
I think a lot of people agree on that.
Love Greg Olson. Don't want to see him lose his job to Tom Brady. But at the same time, like a big fuck you to everybody who doesn't want to hear Tom Brady in the broadcast booth. Kind of do. I'm a big Tom Brady fan. My bets
Make it a three-man booth. Nobody ever suggests that.
Yeah, have Greg Olson and Tom Brady in the same booth.
Nobody brings that. Everyone's like, oh, he's got to. I'm like, there's been great three-man booths in history. Like Tony Kornheiser, Dennis Miller, and whoever was the guy, Al Michaels.
I was going to say who? JR the King and when they had Jonathan Coachman on there?
No, Chris Collinsworth used to be in a three-man booth with Joe and Troy.
I forget about that.
A lot of people do. People forget hashtag.
Fucking hashtag. People forget. All right. Here's the bets that I placed. I'm going to give these exclusively here on the Bart Winkler show.
I'll give you one.
to nobody else. I'm not even going to give all these out of my own show.
Houston. What's the spread on Houston? They're my double cluck of the tournament.
All right, you know what, man? We had Jim Root on, who I like from the 3-Man Weave last night, and I asked him his favorite bet. He said the same thing. I'm going to roll with you guys. I like Houston. I really want to bet Houston to win it all, but fucking the last 2 years I have, man. They weren't able to hit free throws down the stretch.
What's the spread on Houston?
I'm trying to find it really quick. Sorry, my bad. They're like 20-point favorites or something.
Yeah, take them by 40.
By 40?
Yeah.
When do they even play?
I don't know when any game is.
I know. I'm the worst.
I know Marquette is at like 2 on Friday.
Yeah, so they're 19.5-point favorites only now.
So then I'll take them by 38.
All right, I'll bet Houston with you guys. Small. That's your. If you guys lose me money, I'll kill you. Furman plus 5.5 against Virginia. I think they win outright. Utah State on the money line minus 135 against Missouri. There's a reason there's a 10 favored over a 7. I'm going to take Oral Roberts plus 7.5, plus 6.5, whatever you could get your hands on over Duke. I like the under 146.5.
So are you telling me that in between 6.5 and 7.5, you like Oral?
Yes, love Oral. I also love Tennessee, 11.5-point favorites over the Ragin' Cajuns. They're going to get their brains beat in. I'm taking Penn State plus 3 against Texas A&M. I'm taking the Fighting Izzos on the money line against USC. I'm taking UCSB plus 10.5 against Baylor. And I'm taking UCSB plus 475 on the money line to beat Baylor. I'm taking St. Mary's as 4-point favorites over VCU. I'm taking Drake plus 3.5 over Miami. I'm taking Gonzaga, 15.5-point favorites over Grand Canyon. And then the final upset pick of the weekend, Kent State plus 4.5 against Indiana. Kent State on the money line plus 165. Over 40.5 Guinnesses drank from tomorrow to Sunday for me. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You're Irish, aren't you? You look Irish at least.
So I'm a little bit of everything.
You're a mutt. Europe.
What I tell people is, person says I'm Europe. It's like there's 5 countries that come to mind. I'm like the next 5. So I'm like English and Swiss, I think, and like Scott. I thought I was German forever.
I just thought you were Irish. I figured.
Oh, I look Irish, don't I, wee laddie?
Yeah, and you like to drink.
But I like to drink Captain. What does that make me?
Somebody that has to hide how much they drink because they could just throw it in some Coke, some Diet Coke, whatever you're drinking, Pepsi. Like my mom's side, the Gillespies, it doesn't get more fucking Irish than that. But then my dad's side is all like Croatian, Slovenian. So they're like tan and, you know, Eastern European. But then my mom's side, they're all like pale and they like drink a lot. So 2 completely different sides. But on St. Patrick's Day, I celebrate the Irish side. I was a little.
I'm gonna be in the Dells with my buddies, like a real bro chief, pushing 40.
No, that's awesome though. I'm jealous, man. Like last weekend, we usually go and watch the Chicago River get dyed green, watch all the fish die, and we would like start drinking at 6 a.m. But now I live in, the East Coast, which is a big shithole. So I have no friends. So instead I just sat and drank by myself and watched the conference tournaments. This weekend I'll probably drink by myself again because I have no friends. Here.
If you want, I can send you the address.
It's not going to help me. It'd be like a 18.5-hour drive. So that doesn't help me at all.
All right. So with the survivor pool, I like doing this too. You know what a survivor pool is. The difference here is if you take a higher seed, like 7, 8, 9, 10, you get more points. So if you just take chalk, like Purdue's going to win. Okay, well, you get 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually get bounced out of this thing anyway. So I think I might go like go for it. And I was going to take Northwestern as a 7 on Thursday, and you've got Boise State to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, but like a lot of everybody, I might be wrong about that one. Like a lot of people that I actually like, and there's not many people that I like or actually like trust or like would. There's not many people that would make me be like, oh fuck, I'm on the wrong side. But some people that I do like and I've talked to this week like Northwestern a lot on the money line to win the game. So, maybe like when now Boise State's a 1.5 point dog. I mean, look at that, dude. Look at that line movement. Northwestern's probably the right side. Don't let me talk you off of that. That's not one I'm positive on. I love oral.
Well, I was trying to do more on this, but the app is just self-improved, which means it sucks now.
What? Run your pool. Run your pool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with this week. I'm going to
my other choices. You are going to take Purdue?
Well, yeah, because I hate Purdue, and I could see them getting knocked out, like you said, by Memphis. Fuck, I could see them getting whoever wins that Memphis game. I could see actually beating Purdue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with
Friday
because I want the points. I'm going to take Utah State on Thursday as the 10 seed over Missouri. I like Utah State, and then I'm going to use up Purdue just to continue to next week. Because, like you said, I want to make this last a little bit. It's $50. I don't want to just bow right out like I have the last 3 years. So,
yeah. Right now, I had UCLA and then Purdue.
Purdue may lose
but
that
I changed
game,
UCLA to Northwestern for points, and then on day 2, I might go. If I don't go with Purdue, I might take St. Mary's.
I like that. I think St. Mary's wins that game.
Oh, I do too.
I love St. Mary's, even though they just got their brains.
All right, Northwestern and St. Mary's are my survivor picks, day 1 and day 2. Lock it in and send it to the bank.
I have Chris Collins' number in my iPhone. Should I just tell him, hey, my buddy is making you his survivor. Don't fuck this up.
Yeah, and then I'll text Jason Kidd, whose number I have, and I'll say, you are ruining Luka.
Trade him to Milwaukee. Oh, hey, really quick. My favorite bet, like those college basketball bets I like, but what I love, and I continue to play it every week, every time I get paid, I take $100 and I bet it on the Bucks, and we're still sitting at plus 400. First team to 50 wins. The fuck am I missing here? Dude, the Celtics may be screwed. Everybody's like, oh, they're bored. They're bored with the regular season. All these teams are bored with the regular season that have never won shit. Have you noticed that? Oh, the Grizzlies, they were bored. Now they're a mess, but they were bored. Bored of what? They've gotten to the second round. The only team that could be bored is the Warriors. Like the Warriors could be bored because every other year they're winning the championship. And like this year they're not going to, but they've had a bunch of injuries. The Bucks are the best team in the league with the best player. And for some reason, every time I do turn on one of these bullshit shows, I don't mind like if they talk about LeBron. I actually like, you can talk about LeBron as much as you want because he's the greatest player of many people's generation, like the people that didn't grow up with Jordan. And the Lakers are hot right now. Lakers are actually kind of scary in the West right now. But all I ever hear about is Boston. I think Philadelphia, I don't even know if this is a hot take, would beat Boston in a 7-game series. Embiid's playing at an MVP level right now. Harden's skinny and motivated. Harden's good this year. Tobias Harris is overpaid, but he's not going to hurt you. Maxey's the guy that scares me. He's the X factor. I think Philadelphia is the second best team in the East, and I don't think that they would even take the Bucks to 7 games. I think the Bucks would beat them in 6, as long as they're healthy. Especially if, and I know Middleton sat last night, which I like, second night of a back-to-back, finally had the minutes restriction lifted. Once he starts ramping up, like playing 35 minutes, and I know people were down on Middleton, but he just dropped 30 points. He finally looks healthy again. This is the best Brook Lopez we've seen since like 2008. The Crowder pickup was so big, man. It's like the PJ Tucker pickup because that's exactly what they needed. Some toughness, a veteran. I think he's going to knock down some threes. He plays defense. I wish they had, I know people love Grayson Allen. I wish that they had a better 2 guard. I like Connaughton actually off the bench knocking down shots. I think that the Bucks come out of the East. And then in the West, the only thing that would scare me would be a healthy Kevin Durant, because him and Devin Booker, obviously really tough to stop. But the Bucks are still plus 400 to win the championship. So I'm going to bet that again Friday.
Yeah, I think in the East, I think there's a lot of teams that can pick off the Celtics. Mm-hmm. But I think the Celtics are the one team that can pick off the Bucks, because against the Bucks, the Celtics always have those role players have bullshit performances, is what I'm worried about. Like Grant Williams being good again for a week and a half. Yeah. In the West, I think Jokic is soft as cheese. I think it's the Warriors, Lakers, or Suns.
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets don't play.
The Bucks play the Suns. Like the Suns that we saw the other night, if the Bucks play that Suns team, Bucks are going to win in 5. The Suns didn't get Kevin Durant as a luxury. If they're going to beat the Bucks, they need Kevin Durant, just like the Warriors needed Kevin Durant when they couldn't beat LeBron anymore.
Even with Kevin Durant, though, like here's the thing now, man. Like Drew Holiday could guard Kevin Durant down the stretch.
Joel Ingles put Chris Paul on a trap the other night.
This is what I'm saying. Like it doesn't really matter because Chris Paul's pretty much a nothing right now. I hate to say that. I mean,
yeah, but when Chris Paul, this is what happened on Tuesday. Chris Paul was taking it personal against Joe Ingles. So then Chris Paul was playing 1-on-5, totally forgetting about Booker. Like KD's not going to let that shit happen.
No,
if he's on the floor.
But man, they like, and I know that you shorten up your rotations once you get to the playoffs, but I love Mikal Bridges. Look what he's been doing, since he went to Brooklyn as far as the box score every night. I don't love Cam Thomas, but they traded away a lot of their depth. Kevin Durant's a really good defender. I don't know. I think it's a Bucks Suns chalky finals. Like, look at the West right now. The Kings are the 2nd seed. And while they're a fun story, and I know you guys all hate them right now, while they're a fun story, they're not winning a playoff series. I think the Lakers want to be that 7th seed and play the Kings.
Oh, yeah.
Because if LeBron comes back,
they'll win in 5.
I think the Kings had their number in the regular season, but dude, once you play defense and it becomes a half-court game, it's completely different.
This Lakers team is totally different.
I'm kind of rooting for those fuckers, man. I hated LeBron my entire life because of that Bulls run when the Bulls were relevant finally, and I love Derrick Rose, obviously, and Joakim Noah. They're 2 of my favorite players of all time, and they had a great year, and then fucking LeBron beat him in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I hated him. But I don't know. I kind of come around on LeBron. When you think about it, how do you hate LeBron, really? He's been under the microscope since he was 12 years old.
He lived up to impossible hype and somehow surpassed it.
Yeah, and he's a good dude. Like, yeah, I mean, he's corny as shit. Like, I wish he didn't have to, like, pretend to read books during the press conference. Like, if you're really reading, kind of drives me nuts about Rodgers, too. He's always like, here are my books. Like, believe it or not, I read, too. Here, actually, I'm reading, what am I checking out right now? This one, Eureka Math, grade 3. This is what I'm checking out. I also, I don't know if you've seen this recent work. This is actually Manny and Olga's Pizza, which is tremendous. But yeah, LeBron's corny, but I don't know. He's a hard dude to root against.
I'm reading the back of this Rodgers figurine.
How much? Oh yeah, we're almost there. So really quick, do you think Rodgers on McAfee? Well, I guess this is irrelevant because people already be listening after. But pre-prediction, does Rodgers announce he's a Jet, or does something get announced today on McAfee, or does he just say like we're in talks?
I think either. So my prediction, and this has already happened now, but my prediction is.
Let's see if we were right though.
Something breaks a half hour before he goes on, or Rodgers says, I mean, he's got to admit the Jets his house. Yeah. I don't think anything's resolved today is my pre-prediction.
What was that thing that we did you ever do this in grade school where you would like make a prediction or write something down about yourself? Like it was like 6th grade and you're like, my name is Ryan Horvat, or my name is Bart Winkler. I like soccer and my favorite actress.
Time capsule?
Time capsule. Thank you. We should do one of those right now. And then we should dig up this podcast. I'm going to put it in my notes. Wednesday, March 15th, 11:43 a.m. my time, 10:43 your time. I'm getting good with this. Hey, I'd be able to book a guest now. So 10 years from now, how many Super Bowls does Jordan Love finish his career with? How many Super Bowls does Aaron Rodgers finish his career with? Maybe we should make it 15 because we hope Jordan Love has a Tom Brady-like career, right?
Aaron Rodgers finishes with the one he won in Green Bay.
Okay.
And Jordan Love has none.
Wow. Little faith. All right.
I was going to say 2.
I say Aaron Rodgers finishes with 3. I think he wins this year, comes back, and they win it again next year. Hey, again, time capsule. So Rodgers finishes with 3.
Come on.
And I'm going to say Jordan Love finishes his career with 1 as a backup.
Horvat, I'll talk to you in 10 years.
I bid you adieu. Go oral.
We are woefully late for some oral.
I love oral. I'll see you later.